Good afternoon. Hi, I'm Bob Pace. I'm your host for Fight CPS and Stop Taking Our Children. CPS is a children protective system that I call CPS. In California, it's called the Child Protection Services. In Arizona's Department of Child Services. I'm talking about all the branches of social service that deals with protecting our children from neglect and abuse, and also pros to provide assistance to families in need. And if the family is broken apart, to bring it back in family reunification. Um, don't ever hire him. Okay, Star. I'm sorry to hear that. When you say don't hire him, who are you referring to, Star? Welcome, by the way, Star. Welcome to have you in my podcast. Don't even hire him. Um, I don't know what you mean, Star. Well, we're going to talk about how they interact with this podcast. Um, there are several ways to interact with this podcast. And one of the first ways is just by being in the room listening. Um, you probably want to ask a question: who am I? Well, I'm a family man. I have a family. I love my children. I have six children, three older ones and three younger ones, and also have a wife of 31 years. And I am um, I'm here to help you because I had a case with the child protection system. I had a bad case, a real bad case. And I lost my three younger children. I got two of them back, but I did lose my daughter. And it was tough. It was really tough. Um, it's a long road. It happened, my involvement with CPS started back in about 2010. And um, my children, my young children, were stolen, were trafficked from me. And so I am still reaming from it, even though I've been doing this for, well, 2010, 14 years now. 14 years I've been involved with CPS. And since October, I've done this podcast twice a day. I'm on twice a day, and we are worldwide. You found me on Facebook, and Facebook is, if anybody in the world has Facebook, they can see this podcast live. And it's worldwide. And I've had 13 countries that have come in. And so these countries, by the way, have been Mozambique, in Africa, um, which is on the east coast of Africa, across from Madagascar. The province in South Africa, there's several provinces, and I forgot which one it was. I'll have to look it up. It's the one on the west side of South Africa, that province. Um, and Also Rwanda, who is near Lake Victoria, had text in, and they're a country that went through uh, a lot. They had over 1 million people destroyed, killed, murdered. They actually were murdered very savagely. And then over 500,000 females were raped. Young females, older females, they were just raped. They were trying to exterminate the people of Rwanda. And it was sad. It was really a bad, bad thing. The country was out of control. And this was in 1994, so it's not that long ago. And they've also texted in, which is really great. Another country from Africa that texted in was Liberia on the west coast of northern Africa. And a guy named Archie has texted in and tell me how he works with the Scouts. The Scouts is a program for girls and boys. It used to be called the Boy Scouts, but now it's called the Scouts because girls are now part of Boy Scouts. But he comes on very frequently to express interest. Then to the east of Africa has been India, New Delhi, India, and Bangladesh. And to the east of Bangladesh has been in the South Pacific, the land down under, is Australia. And so we've had some text messages from Australia. And then I go across the Pacific to North America, and we've had Canada, both sides of Canada. I've had Alaska. I've had all the 50 states of the United States either call in or text about their situation. There's been roughly over 500 people I've talked to since October. And they come in dozens, like at 10 a show. So if I do, right now we're up to 15 people in the room. And if I do, 10 people a week, twice a week, that's 140 people a week. And you multiply that times months after months. So there's been over 500 people. A lot of people come back and so forth. And we have one person in the room named Star, and I'm trying to find out where they're from. And maybe they can share their study and their problems with the child protection system. But I've also had people in the United States that said the similar things, that their CPS was corrupt, that children were taken when they weren't in immediate danger. And they're trying to fight to have children. I've had recently some Indian tribe issues with the Cherokee of Oklahoma. And I've heard from the Rosebud Reservation with the Lakota Sioux in South Dakota. And so we do talk about the Native American Indian, the first immigrants to the United States. But I've had, every state mentioned. I've actually had 2 social workers. And one social worker is from Maryland, Carol. She talked for 40 minutes about what she does when families are in trouble or when they're in need there. And she was really surprised to hear about how awful CPS, how corrupt they are. I mean, they are corrupt so bad. In Richmond, Kentucky, I have a single mom there named Faye, who's been on my show a lot, has told me a lot. And right now they're investigating the misplacement of $1 million right now. They don't know where. See, the money, it's a money thing to them. It's a money thing to them. Um, it's really, really hard out there because people don't understand why they're in CPS. I care about you because I have a family. I've been there, so I know what you're going through. And if you're in this room, you care about your children. And I'm hopefully that I can share with you. I have 5 rules that I've come up with that should help your case. Recently, I just had a mother call back, and she's got to see her her children. She got her children thanks to some stuff I did there. Hi, Nikki. Welcome, Nikki. Um, you're from Long Island, New York. Well, welcome. I'm really glad to see you here, Nikki. And if you want to share your story, that's great. So we got Star in the room. I don't know where, what city, state, or country. And then we got Nikki from Long Island, New York. I've had several people from New York, and I've heard nothing but bad things about New York, which is really hard. So by being in this room right now, that's one way of interacting. Now, there's several other ways you can interact. One of the other ways is to text a comment if you have a question. You're going to be in this room and you're taking notes and so forth, and you want to really know something, feel free to ask. I'm here, I'm open, and I will do my darndest to help you. I have about 40 or 50 tabs open. I have a lot of topics. It's easy for the internet to help me see your cases and how things are run and so forth. And so there's things like the ICWA. It was an act in 1978 that was passed to help out Indian children because for a long time, since about 1875, Indian children were the number one candidates for foster care. And that was um, terrible. So they had this act passed, the Indian Child Welfare Act, and I can talk about that. Also, there's a 388 motion. You may not know what that is. It's a motion to have a hearing, force a judge within 30 days to hear your case. Um, there's all kinds of grievances you can file. If you have a trouble with a judge, this morning I had someone that had a bad judge, know how to get rid of the judge. And so all you have to do is listen and take notes. But if you have a question, I can answer your question. And I don't care what it is. I'm not a lawyer, but I have enough experience by talking to 500 some people and having a 3-year case myself involving 3 of my children, and how I fought to have them back and how they're needlessly taken away when they shouldn't have been. They were not in imminent danger. My 3 children were taken because they're in school. Being in school is not imminent danger. And they had hounded me for 5 years before they got my children. For 5 years, I kept getting these reports that something wrong with my family. They didn't have clothing. I mean, I had a $2 million home. I lost my job. I know that. And we had to go to a Spartan lifestyle. I had to get rid of the landscaper, the pool guy, and all the things like that. So things were a tough time. I mean, we had to go to a Spartan lifestyle. My family certainly didn't like that. Allowances were stopped. Our Disneyland passes were stopped. But that should not, I don't know. But then I found out many years later that lay people call in needlessly for retaliation or to get something. My in-laws, my wife's mother, father, her 2 sisters, three sisters, and a brother, were trying to break our family apart, trying to alienate us. And they did that for a long time. 5 years, I held off the CPS at bay. I had them at my house. They saw my house, there's nothing wrong with it. And I met with them a lot of times out in the street because I didn't want to bring them in my house. I felt, why do you need to come in my house? I did not know that you don't have to let social workers, you don't have to let policemen, you don't have to let anybody in your home. There's only 3 ways that people get in your home. And I want to emphasize that that's my rule number 4. But you don't let people in your home and you don't answer the door. Now people say, well, gee, we live in a neighborhood where Well, here's the thing: is you can arrange with your close friends, your loved ones, with certain rings, certain knocks. That way, you know that they're at the door. But been too many people killed by opening the door. We've had a black woman that was in the kitchen when she was shot 5 times in the face and killed on the spot by a zealous sheriff. He sort of remind me of a muscle guy. That he's a Billy Bad A, and he just was arrogant. He was fired that night, and he was charged with first-degree murder. You probably heard about that case. And there was another case of Roger, a Air Force airman who was only 24 at the time, and it happened on May 3rd. I won't forget it because my two daughters are very special on May 2nd. One's my firstborn, and one's the one that was stolen from me and stuff there. So I'm only telling this to help share what I was going through. I'm not looking for sympathy or anything like that. I I really care, and my heart's open because you need someone that does care about you. I know it's a struggle right now. Some of you don't have the income or maybe the support. Some of you are alone. You don't have family members to put your kids with. You don't have a lot of things. I need to finish how they interact with this podcast. So besides being in this room, there's another way that you can be, is that you can type in comments. And what I mean by typing in comments, there can be questions. Keep them to the child protection system. Keep your questions and comments to the child protection system. Now, when you register with YouTube, they have your name, so your name will show up. But make sure your name shows up. And if it's a funky name like Mickey Mouse or something like that, try to put your real name. Your first name is fine. I don't need your last name. And the city and the state, so I get an idea where in the United States that there's good CPS or bad CPS. And if you're not from the United States, you're welcome to come in and text a comment to tell me what country you're from. A city and a country is fine. If you don't know the city, that's fine, or you don't want to, the country's good too. As I say, it gives me an idea of this world. Now, I had mentioned around the world, and we had gone to the United States. I've also had Mexico actually called in looking for his two daughters in Louisiana. And then I've had Guyana in South America. And then you go across the pond, and you've had Europe with England, Scotland, and Wales, the United Kingdom, and then Denmark and Sweden. And I went around the world kind of backwards. I usually go the other way, where I start with Mozambique and go to the west. But this time I went to the east just to try to break things up. If you watch any of my podcasts, all my rules are there. I have 5 of them. And I tell about my stories I'm telling now. But I do want to stick to how they interact, how you can get something out of this room, how you can get something out of this room. And so please be complete when you text in or you call in with your CPS case, meaning I don't like playing ping ball, not because I don't like the game, is because it takes too long. If I ask you a question, you go back and forth, it can take up to a half an hour to get all the answers. What I'd like you to do is to tell me, first of all, what your family is made of. Are you a husband, wife? Are you divorced as a husband and wife? Are you a girlfriend, boyfriend? Are you just lovers? Or maybe you're a partnership? And are both parents involved? And what are the sexes and ages of the kids? And are the kids the same fathers, the mothers? Are they different fathers and mothers? So if you can paint the kind of the picture your family is, it helps me understand. And if this is your first case, second case, or third case, where you're involved in foster care as a young child, because it seems to repeat itself. There's been people on my show that's in the 3rd or 4th generation where foster care has come and got them and their children and their children and their children. And see, something's wrong there. It is something wrong. You'll find that CPS is very corrupt. And then I'd like to know what you were accused of. What were the allegations? As I told you, I had a lay people accuse me of doing things to me and my wife, and it was from our family members. If I knew that back then, it would all stopped. It was really disgusting. The other group of people that call in report are professionals. They're usually a little bit better. They're teachers, doctors, lawyers. They are required by law to call in, and they're very sincere. I wish that people that do make allegations, whether professional or lay people, have to sign what they're saying happened and give them their name. And the name can be held in confidence until they find out that they lied, because so many people lie, and it destroys families all the time. It destroys families all the time. So, um, after you tell me the allegations, I want to know how your kids were taken. Did you give them up? Did they break into your place? Um, was there an immediate danger like domestic violence going on? Were the children being thrown against the wall or hurt? Whether knives or guns or whatever? Um, what were how were the kids taken? Was there a court order, a warrant that said that children need to come? Did you talk to the social workers? Those things are important. And then I'd like to know where you're at on your case. Are you at the beginning, the middle, the end? Are you still have visitations? Are they terminating your rights? Have you done appeals? There's so many different things. There's so many areas that you need to really look at. So I'm hoping that all of you, when you text in with your case or call in, that you're very complete. Now, a third way to interact with this podcast, and I'm on 7 days a week, twice a day, Monday through Sunday. I come on at usually 10 o'clock in the morning Pacific Standard Time, 7 days a week. Today, I'm on at 3 o'clock because I have a function with my family. My son, my young son, has a football function, and we're going to go to that this evening or this afternoon, evening. So normally I'm on later, but um, I'm on at 3 o'clock. Normally I'm on every night at 7 p.m. Also on Sunday only, I'm on at 8 because we go to church, and it's a family thing. And so I do it before church. So I come on at 8 o'clock on Sundays. So I'm 8 o'clock on Sundays, 10 o'clock every other day in the morning, Pacific Standard Time, and 7 o'clock in the evening. I'll let you know if there's a difference. Like today, I let people know that I'm on at 3 o'clock. And this past week, I was at a seminar to help me do these podcasts better. And it was a good seminar, but I had to start my show here in the morning at 9:45 and ended at 10:45 so I can attend the seminar. So if you want to be a guest, all you have to do is contact my show producer, Grace. And she can be emailed at grace@vincentwdavis.com. Grace@vincentwdavis.com. And you just have to tell her one of the times: the Monday morning show, the Tuesday evening show, the Wednesday morning show, the Saturday evening show. You tell her one of those 14 times, and she'll put you on as my guest. And she'll give you the link. I'm broadcasting on YouTube using the StreamYard application. And she'll give you the link. She'll tell you what you can do and not do and how to be a guest. There's no smoking or eating on the podcast. We don't use names of children's judges, social workers, or attorneys. It's okay to say the city or wherever you're at there and so forth. But I really love to have you as a guest because it gives you an opportunity to talk like I am and help me with the other group in here, the ones we have in a room right now. And so so that is the third way. Now, the fourth way is I'm going to put my phone number up. Now, my phone number is 626-698-0990. That's my direct office line for this podcast. It goes right to my phone. I'm using the Vonage, which is a internet phone application, and that's how you would reach me and you reach me directly. When you ring me, it's coming there. So um, I really am so happy that if you can call or participate in a comment or be a guest or just be in this room, that's great. There's a lot of you, and I thank you very much for all being here. And I enjoy the emojis, the thumbs up, the hearts, the tears, the whatever it is. It's a very emotional thing. I don't really know from day to day. My podcasts are different. I try to start in different order on topics, and I try to make it inspirational and interesting. And I want to help you with your questions of what you want from me. I can talk about my case. I can talk about the 5 rules that will help you out. Um, um, we have some in the room that I can't load that um, link, but thank you, Lexi, for texting. I have no idea where you're from, Lexi, but I have one person here from Long Island, New York. I did have Star in here. I don't know where she's from. I don't know about her case, but with the other people, if any of you like to text in a comment or call me, the phone line's open. Now, um, the type of social workers that you're going to be dealing with, you can't trust them. They're not transparent. They do not want to help you. They break your constitutional or your civil rights. They're bad news. They make trillions of dollars every year with social services. My case was in Orange County, California, and each of my children, the state was paying the county $20,000 per child. That's $60,000 a month. And if you had 100 families with 3 children, it'd be $6 million a month. $6 million a month for 100 families with 3 children. That's 300 children. And right now they say that over 400,000 children are being investigated by CPS. That's how bad it is in the United States. It's really hard out there. I know that a lot of you are going through divorce or you're not married and you're trying to struggle. I know a lot of you don't have jobs. I've been there. I know that. I lived out of my car. I made really good money. I had a beautiful home at one time. CPS lost my home. CPS ruined my my credit. CPS stole my children. CPS abused my children. And it's really bad. It really is really, really bad. And so I'm hoping to relate some of the things going through because, for the first 5 years, I brushed it off. I thought, okay, it's called harassment. But then they tricked me. Of course, they use the police. They love to use the police. And I hate to say it, I'm really disappointed in the police because they don't know. They first of all don't know how to shoot. I mean, they talk about being marksmen, but you have to kill a guy. I mean, that guy that opened the door in Gainesville, Florida, and that sheriff shot him 5 times point blank in the chest was unnecessary. Why does it take 5 bullets to injure a guy? I mean, a guy can be shot in the foot or arm and they'll fall down. I mean, I don't understand what their thinking is. I know that policemen all the time are murdered and killed. I understand it's a hard job to have, but the excessive force is wrong. The excessive force is wrong. They don't have good people skills. They don't know how to talk to the people out there. They think they're macho. They have to put on that macho, I'm a Billy BA, and you better listen to what I have to say. It's almost they have a crutch on their shoulders. Not all policemen are bad. Don't get me wrong. But I had a bad one, and they tricked me. They tricked me into coming back to my house and opening my house to try to find something. They couldn't find anything. That's why they brought out 5 firemen. two code enforcement, three social workers, two uniformed policemen, and a detective. And they were going through my home with a fine tooth comb. And the only thing they found me, the only thing they charged me with neglect. I was endangering my children because I had placed the boxes and the furniture in my living room because I was sorting through them because my dad had died and my mom was slowly dying. And I was trying to dispose of the belongings that they have accumulated over 55 years of marriage from their, 4,000 square foot home. And at that time, I didn't have money to put everything in storage. So they went through. The firemen were measuring my smoke alarm. They're testing my smoke alarm. They're saying, well, is it centered right or that is? The code enforcement was checking to see if there was a dead bolt or a chain on the back door that led out to the swimming pool. Was the swimming pool properly enclosed? Was there a fence around it? Yes, there was. They couldn't find anything. The only thing that code enforcement found was that my fence had loose nuts that could be um, easily tightened. And on top of that, my yard was a little bushy, sort of like your hair. Looks like we got a call coming in. Good afternoon. This is Bob Pace here.
Hi, Mr. Pace. It's Jessica from New York.
Hi, Jessica. I remember talking to you a couple days. Welcome back.
Thank you.
Did you want
I've
to talk
been
more about your
busy.
case?
I'm working on it. I started doing some research
Good.
on my own because I'm trying to make things as easy as possible. I want to do an emergency petition to have my kids removed from an unsafe foster parenting environment and bring them home. Um,
That sounds
so
good. Have you did you how did the kids, I forgot, how did the kids get in with the foster parents?
they're accusing me of neglect,
Okay, I've been accused of
which is,
neglect.
seems to be pretty common.
Yep, it
Yeah, it
is. It
seems to be a
is.
common thing they do.
Yes, it is.
So
Well,
they accuse me of
did they
neglect.
prove their case? Did they prove their case before they took your children?
They proved it enough that the court approved their petition after the fact because they removed
Okay.
my kids without a court order. Yeah.
Oh,
So what I did was I started doing some research, some legal research, and I drafted a legal memo, and I found some precedents because I found out during the last hearing that the foster mother was allowing the kids to uh, gorge themselves to the point of vomiting and
they're eating
eat
food
food
off the
off of the
floor. I
floor
remember
and
you
playing
told me
garbage.
eating food off the floor, which was gross.
Yeah. So and she said that in court, so it's on the record.
Uh huh.
I found some precedents that talk about cases like this, and I drafted a legal memo that requests that an emergency motion be made to the court to return the children to me. It it talks about the conditions that the foster mother had detailed in the hearing and precedent cases where children were returned due to detrimental conditions in the foster home.
Mm-hmm.
And I also listed like the improvements and the ways that I've been complying with the court and with ACS. And I also, you know, I also put in, you could use this in your legal, because this is just a legal memo for the lawyers. So I said you could use this in your legal argument to hopefully, file an emergency motion for the immediate placement of my children. And I also asked if they could expedite the hearing because this is urgent.
Mm-hmm.
So the lawyer's office is closed, and I'm still doing more research. I'm going to try and dig up as much as I can because, like I said, I'm just trying to make the lawyer's job as easy as possible. But it's kind of piqued my interest in this whole legal thing. So at the same time, I started looking into like federal laws and state laws and how all this lawyer stuff is working because it's kind of fun.
Well, yeah. The thing is, do you still have your court-appointed attorney?
I do, but I also have the prepaid attorney, and I spoke to the prepaid attorney in a consultation, and he was outraged. And, he said that he would be willing to take on the case. So,
Oh,
he
that was
told me it was
good.
on Friday. It was,
The problem is,
yeah,
if you
on
wanted to,
Friday, though.
if you want to enter a court document, you have to be pro se.
Yeah. Well, it's okay, because my lawyer doesn't want to deal with me anyway, so why not switch over to a lawyer that's willing to actually work with me? I've been writing my lawyer about this since the last hearing, and I haven't gotten a response. And this is an emergency. My kids aren't safe in this situation. They've been sick since they've been inside of that home. Now the whole family is sick, and the lady is reporting that all this disgusting things are going on. It's not safe. My kids need to be brought home. Everything that they wanted me to do has been done. They're trying to add on extra things now, and everything that they could possibly add on is things that can be done with my kids safely returned to my custody. So I have no problem complying with their request. All I'm asking is that my kids be returned
Well,
with
that
some
sounds
quick paperwork. If
remarkable.
not,
I'm just surprised the
placed
judge
with
would.
the friend of the family.
Yeah, I'm surprised that. Um,
The judge didn't come. Nobody batted an eye when this lady said that all these things were happening. It was meant to make me look bad because I have a distant relative that I got in touch with that works for CPS in another state, and they're outraged when I told them about what's been going on out here. They were outraged, and they gave me some advice, and they told me the reason why the foster mother said that was to make me look bad. But how does that make me look bad when I'm not the one that's there? They're
yeah,
not in my custody, and that's not my home. How does that make me look bad? That you're allowing these things. I didn't make the plates that are overfeeding the children. I didn't leave the garbage openly available to a 3-year-old.
yeah,
This
yeah,
is in my home. How does that make me look bad? So I need to bring them to where they're safe. And that's the focus now, is just bringing this to the attention of the judge and letting him know my children are in an unsafe place. Everything that you've asked has been done. I'm making a request that the children be brought home. And it seems like the judge was leaning towards the children being returned. So I'm going to try and organize this as best as I can so that the lawyer can represent me to the best of his ability without having to break a sweat. And hopefully we'll be able to get the kids home. I'm just trying to stay optimistic.
yeah, yeah.
And I also reached out to a local assemblyman and asked if they could look into the matter too. Um, this all happened because my hearing was on Thursday, so I've been working on this from Thursday up until now, um, and it's not much time. So I
Yeah.
also want to reach out to the governor's office and the inspector general, and just file a complaint, bring it to their attention. Like, look, there's a lot of things that were done wrong here, and I would like for you to look into this, and just get some eyes on the case and what's been going on here.
Well, I agree. I
Before
agree.
my kids get well.
Um, you need to keep track of all your documents. You got to make sure whoever is representing you that besides the documents, they have the person that created the documents. You have to. It's very careful. We can have all these great documents in court, but unless you have the person testify the documents are real, it's hearsay. So be very
Mm-hmm.
careful about that. I don't want you to, that's it's hard when you don't have a attorney, and you really um, do it without an attorney. That does make it hard.
Well, that's why I started just because I don't have the money. If I don't have the money to hire a full-on family attorney, I don't have the money to start law school. but I just started looking into these things on my own so I can see like what is the practice, what do I need to make sure that this is done properly,
Yeah.
and what can I do to make sure that I'm assisting my lawyer so that we can get this done efficiently because they're not safe. So I need this done properly and well. And if you want something done right,
You have to do it yourself. I
that's
hear
it.
you on
So,
that.
right. So I'm learning. I'm learning. I'm actually.
Oh, did I lose you? Oh, no, we have a technicality here. Hold on. I thought I was still connected. Am I still connected to you? Hello? Hello? Um, Jessica, are you still there? I don't hear you, Jessica. Jessica, are you still there? Jessica. Are you there, Jessica? I don't know what happened. Jessica, are you there? Um, we were talking. Okay, so I see what happened now. Um, Let me see if I get Jessica back on the line here.
Your call has been forwarded to an automated voice messaging system. Is not available. At the tone, please record your message. When you've finished recording, you may hang up or press 1 for more options.
Yeah, hi, Jessica. Bob Pace here. It seems like we got a technical where the call was dropped. You were talking, but all of a sudden you went quiet. And I don't know if you lost power in your phone or what, but it hung up. I'm calling you back. Please call back at 626 698 0990 and we can finish this phone call. Look forward to hearing from you. Okay, to all my listeners out there, we lost Jessica. She really has had a tough situation. She's called me off and on the last so little bit, as many of you have called in and talk about your case. So um, um, so I've notified her in chat. Are you there? So she could call back there. Um, we've had several people. Well, we've had lots of you in this room. We have over 15 people in this room listening, which is great. If any of you like to call in, you're perfectly welcome to at 626 698 0990. Now, I'll tell you a little bit about my case, and I haven't really talked about my rules. And one of the most important rule I have is having an attorney. It's very important to have an attorney. You probably can't afford one, um, and you want to go with your court appointed. I'm not saying not use a court appointed, but keep in mind that court appointed attorneys have a caseload of 30 or more clients. They don't have time for your case. They won't fight your case. So they're looking for an easy way out. So you're really not going to get good representation. And social services loves for you to take a court appointed attorney as well as take a court appointed attorney from your kids too. They love that too. They love that too. Um, so because see, if you have a court appointed attorney or you have a paid attorney, you no longer can represent yourself like pros say. So you can't talk to the judge unless your attorney allows you to, or that that I'm trying to think of the right word to say here, um, or the judge allows it to, because the approach the judge and bench, they're going to be irritated at you anyway because they know you're not trained. And the problem is that courtrooms have a protocol. You know, it's a very professional atmosphere. It's supposed to be. They're supposed to be professional people, and they're supposed to be a good judge, a good attorney, good bailiff, and the clerk, and so forth. But I hate to say it, a lot of them are really bad. A lot of them are really, really, really bad. So when I talk about getting an attorney, I have one right now. His name is Vincent W. Davis, and he's been doing practicing for over 35 years, fighting CPS. He's won many cases and got the children back. He's a trial attorney, and he will fight for you. Right now, he's offering a consultation. That means you can talk to a real attorney in dependency law. He does juvenile family dependency law, which is the area that you're in right now if you have your children taken from you. Now, he's offering a consultation, 30 minutes for $60. 30 minutes for $60. And he'll help you take on, um, he'll help you know how to navigate, because if you're involved in CPS, you're like Alice in Wonderland. You have no idea where you're at. You're talking to a Chester cat that doesn't make sense. I don't know if you remember much the story of Alice in Wonderland, but poor Alice she didn't know. They were telling one time off for their head. But that's what child protection is. Also, it is like open heart surgery. Fighting CPS is doing open heart surgery. So you need the best. And he will offer you to talk to you for $60 for 30 minutes. Now, to schedule that time with him, all you do is call into 888-888-6582. That's the phone. Make sure you tell the people that answer the phone there that you want a consultation with Mr. Davis and Bob Pace sent you. Then when you talk to Mr. Davis, tell him that Bob Pace sent you. It's very important that you do that. And so I'm telling you that that you got nothing to lose. I mean, it's $2 a minute. Yes, it's $60. It is a lot of money. Don't get me wrong. That's how much I try to live my family with three for a whole week for food, which is really hard. So I know what $60 is. It's really tough out there with the money end of things, and I know that. I know that. And so what I want from you all is at least call in to do a consultation. Now, if you like what he has to say and you want to talk to him about representing you, you'll go over his retainer. It's based on how complex and how long your case has been going on, and also where you're located. He will practice in Northern California as well as other states in the country. He's one of the sought out after attorneys because he also does civil lawsuits, both in federal and state court against CPS. He's won millions of dollars. So if your case is over and you have something, you do a lawsuit, he can help you there too. So nothing to lose. The call in, $60 is well spent there. That's like going out on a dinner date now these days. Maybe you could, instead of going out to dinner date, but I haven't had a dinner date in a long time, but I know most dates or the movies, stuff like that, dinner and getting a car stuff, it's like over $100. So I wish you would call in. So it's important to have an attorney because I didn't have one at first. And Vincent did come aboard. I waited about a year. I tried to do the court appointed, and then I did per se, and I fought with the director of California Child Protection Services, the CPS system, the child protection system in California. And that director was corrupt. He was so corrupt. He had a Taj Mahal of an office to work in, and it's the Emerald City of the Wizard of Oz. And he had so much gold around his neck, I thought he was going to fall over. I thought he was going to fall over because I wanted to offer him crutches. Because it's all about money. It's vindictiveness. It really is vindictiveness. So that's my rule number one. You need to get an attorney because you're doing open heart surgery, and you need the best there is. And I did. I got my boys back, but lost my daughter. And how I lost my daughter was a revenge by the social worker. My social worker, who was very young, in her early 20s, didn't have a license to do social work or the child protection system, didn't have a college degree, didn't have any training. They just I don't think she even had a mentor. I don't know what she knew about family unification or the parenting classes or the program classes, the domestic violence or whatever it is like that. But she didn't know any of those things. And she was on the stand, and Vincent was, because what was happening is that they were trying to, my wife's sister and husband were trying to adopt her daughter. And we didn't want that to happen because they had alternative motives for it. And we knew some bad things that those two people had going for their family. And so Vincent asked, was there any domestic violence with you two? And of course, my wife's sister said, not my wife's sister, the social worker said, no, there's nothing wrong with the parents. They're great parents, and there's nothing I see. Well, then Vincent went to his briefcase, pulled open a folder an inch thick, and in there was all these police reports of domestic violence, so thick and heavy that the social worker's face get bright red, head lowered, because she had lied. She had perjured herself, which is a ground for a civil lawsuit. And I had one, but I don't have $50,000 to sue that social worker. But she was wrong. And so she later told me, my wife, that she said, you're never going to see your daughter again. That's how mean they are. And you know what she did? She said to my daughter, who was 12 at the time, I want you to emancipate from your parents. That means divorce your mom, your dad, divorce your grandparents, divorce your brother, your aunts, your uncles, and your cousins. So she followed the directions. She changed her name. She was told to change her name. And she changed her name completely, got rid of her middle name and everything. She had a beautiful middle name, Hanalei. It's a beautiful place on earth that I love. And I gave it to her as her middle name. And I don't know. It's funny how parents raise their children, have so much love for them. And it hurts me to think about that she tried to erase it. She also sealed her birth certificate that she was even born. We weren't her parents. And she got adopted by foster parents. And these foster parents later abused her. She's now living with her daughter, who has a family of two children, maybe three. Um, and she's living there with our daughter. At least we know she's safe, but she doesn't talk to us. She talks to her brothers, which we encourage. But that's how bad social workers are. They retaliate. I've mentioned the Pink Ladies before, how they're from Prescott, Arizona. The Department of Children's Services there. That's the CPS system. That's the child protection system. They put on the front of the T-shirts "professional child kidnappers," and on the back they put, "Do you know where your children are at?" And they parade around in Walmart and Costco and Target and Best Buys. The message to the parents was bad. The message was bad. They were fired, along with the director. That's 9 people were wiped out in that department. There's only one person left to handle all the cases. And they were fired, within days. I mean, it was terrible. You don't do those kinds of things. So be very careful of social workers. Don't trust them. They're going to bring your hopes up. Um, and try to get that attorney at that rule number 1. Now, rule number 2 is the paperwork of things, and people don't like it. I didn't like it, but you need to get a notebook, and you need to um, You need to um, you need to like in a notebook, like a 8.5 by 11 notebook, and 3 ring binder, and you put subject tabs in there, and you fill it full of college rule notebook paper, and and organize it and keep all your paperwork in there. And I'm running short on time because um, I'm only allowed to go 1 hour, and it's in close to 4 o'clock, and I have that commitment. I hate to leave you guys, but rule number 3 is the one about, as I told you, don't let them in your home and don't answer the door. I don't need to tell you about that one. It's not safe. Also, be careful of medical trafficking, where you go to a hospital for urgent care, or you're pregnant and you have your child and they try to take your child. Heads up, they've been doing that a lot lately. And then rule number 4 is to do your research. You need to really research hard on your CPS case near you live. There's so much you can gain from the internet. Do it. Spend 40, 60 hours at it. And then rule number 5 is the one that Faye had put together: is have a folder or an envelope with all your important documents of your children, your cells and stuff, your marriage license, your social security card, your kid's social security card, your grade reports of your kids, the medical records, um, the passports, all those important documents. They have an envelope or a folder there, and have copies of them, because they will try to take that stuff from you. You got to be really careful because you need that documents later. So that's rule number 5. And with that being said, I'm going to get ready to shut down. And tomorrow will be Sunday, and I'll be on at 8 o'clock in the morning. That's 8 a.m. in the morning. 8 a.m. in the morning. And I love to see you there. And we can talk further. I want to thank the people that came in my room. Jessica, that called from New York, who I lost. I don't know what happened, but we lost her. Nikki Terry, who's from, oh boy, forgot it, from Long Island, New York. We had, a couple of people from New York, because Jessica's from New York too. So we have Nikki Terry there. Thank you, Lexi. I don't know where you're from, but thank you. And then we have Star. And thank you, Star. I still don't know where you're from either. So thank you all for being in my room, and all you people that give me the emojis and everything. That was great. It was really, really great. I want to thank you all very, very, very much uh, for listening, and hopefully you get your kids back. Don't give up. Still fight for them. And I tell you, think about it. There's lots of my podcasts you can listen to. So you feel free to watch them. There are a lot recorded there. There's a lot of things you can learn. There have been a lot of guests on the show that talked about their case, maybe something similar to yours that will help you. So God bless you, and I'll see you tomorrow at 8 o'clock in the morning. And good night.